each station allocated band to send its data, right? Now, for that, band pass filter is used. Let's say one station is there and I am allocated some data to that particular station, and if that station is using their time slot or allocated band as well as others allocated band, so that is not the fair allocation, right? So that's why we are using band pass filter to confirm that transmission frequency, means whatever is allocated to that station should use that frequency only, right? So for that we are using this band pass filter, small guard bands to separate a band from one station. Means,
Hi.
hello, small guard bands are there. Means whenever some data we send, after that some small guard band we will send, so that overlapping concept won't means overlapping won't happen here. So that's why we are using that small guard bands. Now, after that, predetermined frequency band is, means whenever we are using this FDMA, at that time it is predetermined, right? So it is not a static it is static one, it is not a dynamic one, right? Now, FDMA mostly FDM mostly works on physical layer. Combine the load from the low bandwidth channel and transmit it, right, to high bandwidth channel. What was the FDM? Here I'm discussing FDMA, and what is FDM? FDM I already discussed, frequency division multiplexing. So in that I was multiplying a different frequency, and here FDMA means frequency division multiplexes, right? So both the things are uh, far different, right? So this is FDM is used for physical layer, and this FDMA is used on data link layer. So different on different layers, these two terminologies are working, right? FDMA working on data link layer and FDM working on physical layer. So if you already know that on physical layer we are dealing with different means physical like signal and cable, means we are near to the our cable and everything, right? So there we are using low pass filter, different channels, multiplexer, means more DLD related concept, right? So FDM is used on physical layer and FDMA is used on data link layer. So whenever in exam they'll ask, please careful, means this two things is means only A is different, right? Yeah, in on physical layer FDM and on data link layer FDMA. Now, second technique is TDM. So time division multiplexing. TDM I already discussed whenever I was discussing about a physical layer, right? So this is TDMA, means time division multiplexes, and on physical layer time division multiplexing. So, but here same concept is applied. Each station allocated a time slot during which they can send, right? If you are aware about round robin algorithm, same strategy we are using over here. Let's say five station are there in my multiple access, right? So five station are there in one lane, then I am allocated one minute to each station. Within that particular 1 minute, station can transmit the data, and remaining 4 minutes they have to idle, right? So basically I am dividing my channel or time slot in equal parts, and equally I am allocating to each station, right? So achieving synchronization between the different station, right? So here I am using a fair allocation, right? Because uh, I am allocating my time slot to each and every station, right? Now some synchronization bits are there at the beginning of each slot. In frequency division, we were using guard bits, right? So likewise here we are using synchronization bit. So it what it will do basically, it will synchronize between sender and receiver, right? Now TDM and TDMA, right? So TDM works on physical layer and TDMA is work on data link layer, right? Now, third one, CDMA. This is somewhat interesting. Before this, we haven't discussed this code division multiple access. Till now, FDM or TDMA or FDMA, from name you can identify that okay, this is frequency division, this is time division, but this is code division, so this is somewhat different. So in CDMA we are not dividing according to frequency or time. So you might ask that on which basis we are dividing our channel, right? So simple, as the name suggests, code division means we are assigning different codes to each station, and accordingly they station can transmit the data. So one channel carries the whole transmission simultaneously. CDMA, communication with different code. So if I want to map the CDMA concept with day to day life, then it is very simple. Let's say one classroom is there. Inside this classroom, two people are speaking in English, two people are speaking in Chinese, two in some other languages, right? So whoever knows the English, they can understand that what this person one is trying to communicate, right? So this is different languages here I'm using, right? So whoever knows that particular language, he or she can easily identify that okay, that person, whatever the sender, whatever sender wants to transmit, he or she can easily understand, right? So here I'm using different languages, but in terms of networking I'm using different codes. So same thing, in particular room, or this is one network, so inside the network everyone can transmit, but here languages are different, or and in network different code are different, right? So let's say, any queries till now in the CDMA? In real life, whenever one room is there, inside one room, uh, means so many people can communicate, but in particular languages, right? So whoever know that language, they can easily understand that whatever sender wants to transmit, and remaining all can ignore it, right? So same concept in networking also, means at a time we are not dividing our channel on basis of frequency or time, but we are dividing our channel on basis of code. So different code are transmitting in a channel, and station, whoever receiver know that particular code, they can receive the particular message, or receiver can ignore that message, right? So let's say how it will exactly happen in our network. Let's say this is source 1 or sender, anything you can assume. This is source 1, source 2, source 3, and source 4. Four sources or four nodes are there in my channel, right? Now what is this C1, C2, C3, and C4? C1 means what? Particular code I am assigning to each source, right? Or each node, right? This code, how you might be asked that what is this code for, right? So code is generated by Walls code scenario, that is not in your syllabus, but definitely Walls code is a random generator. So randomly it will generate this code for each and every node, right? So here, according to that Walls code, they generated four source address, right? Or source code, right? So this is S1, and this is code 1 for node 1, right? Likewise, this is S2 or node 2, and this is code for that particular node. Likewise, C3 and C4, right? So for each node, unique code is generated in this CDMA. So in if I want to connect with previous example, so let's say this is English, or I can say this is a unique language, right? Generated by particular Walls code generator. So here four code is there. Now D1, D2, D3, and D4. What is this D1? D1 means what? Particular data. D1, D means data. So whatever data user wants to transmit, that we can call as D1, D2, D3, and D4. So at a time, let's say all nodes wants to transmit something, right? So D1 wants to transmit -1, D2 +1, D3 -1, and D4 +1. So you might be asked that what is this -1, +1? Whenever we are dealing with binary, we are only deals with 0 and 1, right? But in this CDMA, data bits are 0 and 1 only, but whenever I am representing through -1, then it is 0, and whenever I am representing through +1, then it is 1, right? So it is binary only, but representation is something different. So 0 means -1, and 1 means +1, right? So here, this is a code which is allocated to each nodes, right? C1, C2, C3, and C4. After that, D1, D2, D3, D4 data that particular station wants to transmit. Now, simple. What I have to do, I have to simply multiply this code with data. So C1, D1, I'm getting one by one. I can multiply, right? So -1 multiply by 1, I'll give it will give -1. -1 multiply by 1, -1. So likewise, it will give me -1, -1, -1, and -1, right? As a C1, D1. Same thing I have to do over here. C2 is there and D2 is also there. So I have to simply multiply C2 and D2, right? So then I'll get C2, D2. Likewise, C3, D3 and C4, D4. So four codes I am getting over here, right? So till now, what I did, first thing, four nodes are there in my network, and I'm assigning unique codes to node, and this D1, D2 is there. It is data that particular station wants to transmit. Now after that, I'm doing multiplication, right? So C1, D1, C2, D2, C3, D3, and C4, D4, right? So I'm getting unique uh, sequence of -1 and +1, right? As a C1, D1, C2, D2, C3, D3, and C4, D4. Now what I have to do, so till now, two rules we have to follow while assigning these numbers. First rule is C1 multiplied by C2 will give me 0. Let's say C1 is 1, 1, 1, 1, right? And C2 is 1, -1, 1, -1. So if I'll multiply this 2 bit, then it will give me 0. Means basically it is not necessary that every time I have to multiply this C1 with C2 only. If I multiply this C1 with any other node code, then it will give me 0. If I'll do C1 multiply by C3, then also 0. C1 multiply by C4, then also 0. Means different node code will give me multiplication should be 0. And if I multiply with own code, means C1 multiply by C1, then it will give me 4. So this two is basic rule for multiplication, or whenever you are using the CDMA, you should follow this two process. Multiplication of two codes or two different node code will give me 0, and same multiplication with same code C1 multiplied by C1 will give me 4, right? So here you can check with this example. You can multiply C2, C2, C3, C3, C4, C4. Every time it will give me 4. And you can multiply C1 with C2, C1 with C3, C1 with C4. Or else you can also multiply C2 with C3, C2 with C4. Likewise, if you are multiplying different station code, then it will give me 0. And with same station, if I'll multiply, then it will give me 4. So this is the basic rule. Data bit you all know, right? Now what I have to do, this is general, right? So you already know what is this C1, what is D1, what how we are getting the C1, D1. So what I have to do, C1, D1 plus C2, D2 plus C3, D3 plus C4, D4. So that I have to do. This is the exact output of sender side. Whatever data sender wants to send, this is the exact output. If I add this for C1 D1, C2 D2, C3 D3, and C4 D4, then I'll get 0 minus 4 0 0. So this is the exact output of sender side. Means whatever sender will send from sender to receiver, that is 0 minus 4 0 0. So one part sender side I already completed, right? Uh, s- Means simply if I want to revise quickly, then C1 is code for particular station. D1 is data that station wants to transmit. I have to simply multiply the data, right? And after that, I have to do addition of all the code. Then I'll get 0 minus 4 0 0. Now, what happened at receiver side? At receiver side, let's say C1 is my receiver, and R means what? This 0 minus 4 0 0 I can call as R, right? This is constant every time. So if receiver is first node is receiver, then C1 is code for first node as well as R, right? 0, -4, 0, 0, whatever exit output from sender side. If I multiply both the things, then 1 multiply with 0, it will give me 0. 1 multiply with -4, -4. 1 multiply with 0, 0. And 1 multiply 0, it will give me 0. So whatever I am getting, -4, right? The output of this is -4 multiplied by total number of station. So -4 divided by 4 station are there in channel, right? So -4 multiplied by 4, then it will give me -1. So whatever data uh, is sent through this whole CDMA concept is -4 if my code 1 or station 1 is receiver. Same thing I have to do it for receiver 2, receiver 3. Means if receiver 2 wants to receive something, then receiver 2 can apply same process. This is a code for receiver 2, and this is our common code 0 -4 0 0. Then I have to do simple multiplication. After this, I am getting a 4, right? So 4 multiplied by 4. 4 means what this 4 means? Total number of station. And then it will give me 1. So this is the exact data received by the receiver, or received by particular station 2. So this is what about CDMA. I hope you are not facing any problem. I already discussed that sequence generation is used by Waltz code, right? So any queries in this CDMA concept? I know this is bit tricky, but it is really very interesting or something different. Till now you haven't seen this kind of multiplication, means this kind of unique thing, right? In a network level. So I hope it is clear. Now, next thing I want to discuss is uh, introduction to data link layer, chapter 9. Most of the things I already discussed, but I'll revise quickly and then I'll discuss one ARP protocol. This is the last for today. So whenever I'm dealing with data link layer, node to node communication is there, right? So one node dedicated link between sender and receiver, it is already there. Main service of data link layer, I already discussed. For this, please check my previous videos. Framing, flow control, error control, I already discussed. Means how this services work on data link layer, that I discussed. And congestion control, you all know what do you mean by congestion. Congestion means what? Simply, if send two station are transmitting at a time, then some congestion occur in network, right? So or collision occur. At that time we have to use this different congestion control technique. CSMA, CSMACD, I can call as a congestion control technique. Now, two categories of link. I already discussed point to point link as well as broadcast link, right? So point to point means what? Dedicated to two channel, means one source, one destination, simple. But broadcast link means what? Link is shared between several pairs of devices, right? So that I can call as broadcast link. Means one station is transmitting and so many other station is receiving, then I can call as broadcast. So normally radio station we can consider as a broadcast, right? Means only one station is transmitting and so many other listeners are listening to it, right? So so many receivers are there. Now, whenever I'm dealing with data link layer, two sub layer are there in data link. First one is data link control, as well as second one is media access control, DLC services. Inside this DLC services, I already discussed framing, flow control, error control, right? And likewise other sub layer is there, that is media access control. So basically, if I want to consider Mac, then Mac is a in between, between the above the physical layer and below the data link layer. So this is the connecting part between a data link layer and physical layer. Now, DLL of broadcast link. Whenever I'm using this broadcast, at the time I'm using both the sublayer, DLC as well as MAC. And whenever I'm using point to point, at that time I'm using only DLC services. And MAC protocol is not at all required whenever I'm using point to point. Now, link layer addressing. Whenever I was discussing IP addressing, at that time I discussed basic terminology about multicasting, broadcasting. That the same thing is here. Means Link layer address I can call as link address. Physical address, I already discussed that this MAC address is a middle of physical layer as well as data link layer, right? Three types of addresses are there. First one is unicast. Unicast means what? One to one communication. Means one sender is there, one receiver is there. Simply sender and receiver is transmitting the data. Then I can call as unicast address. So unique addressing, whenever I'm assigning to each node, then I can call as unicast address. Now each host and each interface router assign a unicast address, right? So I can assign this unicast address to host as well as routers. So each and every intermediate device will get this unicast address defined only for one entity in the link, right? So this unicast address is defined for only one entity, right? Now whenever I'm dealing with LAN or Ethernet address, at that time some specific LAN address is also there, that is 48-bit address. This is the example of LAN unicast address. So it is 48-bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 subpart are there, and in hexadecimal notation, here they represented address of LAN or Ethernet. Likewise, if I want to use a multicast address, multicast means what? One sender and so many receivers. Then I can call as one to many communication in multicasting. So whenever I use the multicast address, we have to careful that second digit should be even. Why this second digit should be even? That is your assignment question, or you have to identify this answer. Very interesting, but you have to identify. Now, next one is broadcast addressing. Third type of address. This is broadcast. So here one to all. All means what? Let's say in one network, or not six, 60 devices or 60 hosts is connected. Then if I want to transmit my packet to all 60 nodes, whatever are there in my network, then I can call as broadcast, right? So destination broadcast address is sent to all entities in the link. Whoever is connected with that particular link, so I can send my address to all, right? So whenever I'm using this broadcast address, it should be FFFF, right? So every time if I use this address, then that particular packet will broadcast, simply broadcast in my network. So if I'll convert this FF, then it will simply give me 255, 255, right? Now, ARP, most IMP protocol, according to exam point of view, according to your competitive exam point of view, anywhere, if you are dealing with this LAN or multiple access at the time, this ARP is most important protocol. That ARP means address resolution protocol. So whenever some packet is coming from above layer, let's say network layer, and packet wants to know the address or MAC address, or packet wants to transmit in below layers like data link layer, physical layer, at that time packet should know the MAC address, right? So at that time this address resolution protocol is used. So simple in one line, if I want to define the terminology or working of ARP, then it will convert IP address to MAC address. If IP address means network layer address is known to me, and I want to know the data link layer address or MAC address, at that time I am using this ARP protocol, right? So simple, it will give me or converting IP to MAC address. Now, how it will convert IP to MAC? First one, let's say here above layer are there. From there, this is IP layer. ARP is working over here, and DLL is here, right? Below network layer, DLL is there. Now this is one link. With this link, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6 nodes are connected, and one router is there. So I can call us this is one network, right? Now, if I want to transmit some data from A to B, then how can I decide first of all that B is in my network or in other network, right? This is router. So router will definitely divide my network, right? So this is one network, and some other network is also connected with this router. So how we will decide that B is in same network or B is in another network? B, what is B over here? B is destination over here, right? Now, using the subnet mask at router, we will decide the same network or another network. So whenever I know the IP address, right? Because this packet is coming from above layer. So I know the IP address of destination or B, but I don't know the MAC address of B, right? My destination. So at that time, first of all, I have to use the subnet mask at router. What it will do, it will simply inform me that okay, this packet is inside this network or outside the network. Okay, I'll discuss with more figures, right? So here, same thing I drawn. IP address. It will if I'll give IP address to ARP, then it will simply give me MAC address. So I can transmit my data to lower rails, right? So source and destination. A is my source, B is my destination. Now packet content, whatever packet is coming from above upper layers, in that IPA means IP address of source is there, IP address of destination is also there, but I don't know the MAC address of destination, right? So for that I'm working on ARP. So ARP will give me the MAC address of B. How it will give me? So for that, first of all, I have to use this broadcast concept. So this is broadcast address. I already discussed, right? What is broadcast address? So inside this broadcast packet, what I'll do, I'll keep a IP address of B. It is already there with me, right? So I'll keep IP address of B, then MAC address that I really don't know or I want to know, and MAC address of A means source address or MAC address of source, right? So that packet I'll broadcast in my network, this packet. In that IP address of B is there, but MAC address I don't know. MAC address of A is there, and this is broadcast address, right? So I'll simply broadcast this packet to particular network. Now, let's say luckily B is there in my network only. Now, what B will do? This is the first case when B is there inside the network. Then what B will do? It will use this IPB. How B will understand, first of all, that this packet is for me or not? Simply because it is a multicasting, right? Or sorry, it is a broadcasting, right? So each and every node will receive this packet, right? Now, after after this, okay, B will understand that okay, some node or some node A wants to know my MAC address, right? So that's why what B will do, B will simply use this IP address of B as well as MAC address of B. B already know, right? MAC address of itself. So that's why it will put one IP address as well as MAC address as well as MAC address of A. How it will understand the MAC address of A from here, right? Because in that broadcast packet, MAC address of A is already there. So from there, station B will copy this MAC address of A as well as MAC address of B. Now this packet directly B sends to A, right? So A to B, source to destination is broadcasting, right? So it is simply broadcast the packet that okay, I want a MAC address of this particular IP address. Likewise, it will broadcast. But B to A, it is unicasting. So because B know the MAC address of A, right? So simply it will unicast this packet to particular station A. After this, okay, now A also know that okay, MAC address of B is known to me, right? So everything is clear. So after that, simply A will send the perfect packet with IP address of A and B and MAC address of A and B as well as packet content, whatever data sender wants to transmit, right? So this is the perfect packet. Third time, sender A will send the packet to B. So I hope it is clear to you. First time from above layer, I am getting only IP address. Now I want to IP address or IP address of B is there with me, but I want to know the MAC address of B. So at that time, I'll broadcast the packet. In that MAC address of A is mentioned, but MAC address of B is missing. Now B already understood that okay, this packet is for me. Now what B will do? B will simply transmit the MAC address of the it and to station A, this is unicasting. And after that, A will again transmit the proper packet to station B. So this is whole about ARP, address resolution protocol. Now let's say another scenario that B is in another network. Then what will happen after this multicasting? If uh, let's say no one respond, B is not here, B is in some another network, then simply this router will, what it will do, it will simply broadcast this packet to another network or neighbor network, right? Because the our destination is not present in particular this network, right? So that's why it will broadcast to other networks. Now pass packet to nearby network, right? Already discussed. Now ARP request is broadcasting, means whenever I am transmitting A to B, then it is broadcasting. B to A is unicasting, right? So ARP response is unicasting. And possible cases means how many possible cases are there where we can use this ARP protocol. Let's say this is two nodes A and B, and this is two router. This is how we can represent the router, right? Like a cross sign. So this is two router. So if I want to know the address of host to host, at that time also I am using the ARP, host to router. Then also I'll use the ARP protocol, router to host. This router to host, then also I'll use the ARP, and router to router. Then also I can use the ARP. So this ARP is really very useful. Means without ARP, it's not possible that upper layer or network layer can transmit something to data link layer or physical layer. So it is really very useful. Now, yeah, it is illegal to change the MAC address. You all know, right? That MAC address is unique and you are not supposed to change the MAC address. So that's it from my side. Any queries in this ARP, then you can easily ask me. And second thing, one RARP is also there. That is not there in your syllabus. That's why I'm not discussing. But what is there in RARP? In RARP, this is reverse address resolution protocol. Means in that, simply if you want to convert MAC address to IP address, at that time you are using this RARP. Let's say at the receiver side, if you want to convert a MAC address to IP address, at that time you will use this RARP protocol. But it's okay, it's not there in your syllabus. ARP is there in your syllabus, that I already discussed. Now, if you have any queries, then you can easily ask me.